Hi there and welcome to Star Wars, The Price of Freedom, a Star Wars fan film. This is going to be the first in a series of Meet the Team videos. I'm really excited to kick this off. As I've said many times on my videos, I am just an actor and I don't really know how to produce and make films. So I've brought together the team to facilitate and fill in the gaps in my knowledge, of which there are many. And I just want to learn about the process and I want to help other people learn about the process. So over the series, we're going to meet people that are integral to the production, from directors, writing, VFX, wardrobe, prop building, other actors, and just find out what makes them tick, get to know them as we continue on our journey, but also how they got to where they're going, why they chose that career, pitfalls they've encountered, lessons they've learned, and advice for the generation coming behind them about how to get into the industry and how to bring out the passion which they have and help other people. This project's all about helping people. So I really hope you enjoy. The first episode today is with Grace, our writer. Now, they came on very early in the project, so I thought it was appropriate that they were the first. So get to know Grace. This is our first podcast-style episode. We're testing cameras and microphones. I think there's a lot to learn, but it might seem the quality's a bit off in one of the cameras. I do apologize for that, but I think it's a lovely listen. And I'm really looking forward to you getting to know Grace and more about the project. Okay, I'll stop waffling. You enjoy. Thank you very much. All right, so I'm here now with Grace, our writer. Hi, Grace.
Hi.
Hi, thanks for coming today.
It's all right.
I want to know today all about you, why you do what you do, how you got into what you do, if anyone else wants to follow in your footsteps, how they can learn what you do, how you got involved in the project. Just we're going to deep dive into you, if that's all right.
Yeah.
All right, so who are you?
I am a recent screenwriting graduate from the University of Chichester, from Bournemouth, Dorset.
Born and raised?
Born and raised, 20 years there.
Right.
Moved to Reading back in the summer.
Cool. Educate me, I'm not very good on geography. Where is Chichester?
Chichester is between, I always describe it as between Portsmouth and Brighton,
Cool.
when people don't really know where it is.
That's very helpful, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on
That in the middle.
the map there. Cool. And why there?
It was the only uni option I actually really considered because screenwriting is quite a hard course to find.
Okay.
Mostly what you find is film studies and screenwriting. And I really like film studies, but I wanted to focus on the creative aspect rather than the academic aspect, even though I actually ended up kind of preferring the academic aspect in the end.
You knew what you wanted?
I knew what I wanted, so my school was really pushing me to put down at least 3 options.
University options?
University options, to make sure that I had a safety school and stuff like that. So I put down Winchester as well.
Okay. Same-ish course?
Same-ish course, more film studies focused. But I was also very interested in the TV writing, which a lot of courses around the country don't really offer. It's mainly films.
Okay.
So Chichester was the only one that I found that really had everything that I wanted. And I didn't want to go too far from home, but far enough that I could justify not living at home.
Yeah, amazing.
So that's why I ended up at Chichester. And I went to the open day, met the programme coordinator, and she is absolutely incredible.
Cool.
And
she was there for the whole course?
She was there for the whole course. She was my head tutor. And she was so enthusiastic and it was so infectious that I had no choice but to go to Chichester in the end.
Nice one. Did you know anyone in Chichester before you went?
No. Well, actually, I ended up going there with 2 other people from my secondary school. Ended up also going to Chichester, but
different courses.
Different education courses.
And do you, in university life, did you like grow together as friends, or did you like sort of part and go off and discover your own?
We kind of parted. I don't really speak to either of them as much anymore, but because they were on education, we were on different campuses. Because Chichester has 2 campuses, one in Bognor Regis, one in Chichester City. Cool. So I was really only on the Bognor campus, and they were on the other one, so we didn't really see each other. It happens,
but you'd be fine. You might reconnect years later. More on that.
That's all right.
You decided that was the course for you. Did you get accepted by your 2 safety schools as well?
I got accepted by Winchester. I only put down 2.
Okay.
My school wasn't very happy with me for that, but it worked out in the end. So.
But you got your main one.
Got my main one.
But when you were a wee one, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I always wanted to be an author.
Okay,
so
writing was in the blood.
Writing was always there from when I was 7 in year 2 at school, 6 or 7.
Okay.
Year 2 at school, I had this incredible English teacher. I used to hate reading, couldn't read a whole book, I'd get bored and lose interest very quickly. And I didn't like writing. I didn't really see the point in it. I found it quite dull, weirdly. And then I had an amazing English teacher, and she got me these story dice. I don't know if you've ever had them. You roll them. You have a few dice. You roll them all, and it comes up with like different parts of the story, and you just write it inspired on the dice. So it will come up with like
candlestick. Plum
kind of. It gives you like a group of little prompts, and then you kind of just write off of that whatever you think of. And she gave me those, and I don't know why, but something just clicked in my brain.
And you're 7 at this point?
7 at that point, yeah.
Wow, okay.
So I just loved that. And then I started reading and loved it, and was finally able to finish a book for the first time, I think, when I was 7 or 8.
So you enjoyed reading, kind of, but
it was
got
fine.
bored.
I got bored.
Then started writing your own stuff, which gave you the appreciation of the art.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm trying to think how a 7-year-old would interpret that. I don't know many 7-year-olds.
I can't really remember being 7. I thought it was really fun, and then fast forward to year 4, I really loved creative writing at this point. Again, I've always had amazing English teachers, and this one English teacher, I had to write a piece, and she showed it to the year 6 English teacher.
Nice.
Bigging myself up here, showed it to the year 6 English teacher, who taught my brother, and I remember her coming up to me and telling me, like, you're going to be really good at writing, and this is going to be your thing.
Obviously.
So then when I was in year 5, they put us in sets for English and maths, grouped with year 5 and 6 together. And I was the only year 5 in top set English.
Nice.
Which is one of my proudest moments.
I'll say. But you had those teachers encouraging you and pushing you.
Oh, yeah. I had the best English teachers through my entire school career.
That's it. Teachers need to get paid more.
They do. They're the best.
So you mentioned a couple of teachers, or the same teachers twice. Who was that?
So the first teacher to get me into writing was Miss Meadows. Miss Meadows. And then...
She's passed away. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miss Meadows. And then it was Miss Scarrett, Gina Scarrett in year 4.
Gina.
I remember Gina. She wrote in my yearbook when I left primary school that she wants a signed copy of my first published novel.
All right.
So
it was books.
It was books first. It was books.
Stories
for a very long time. It was books. I remember I wrote my first book. It was about a chapter long. When I was still in primary school.
But all fiction was stuff just out of your head? Or was it
pretty much.
No fan fiction for...
Later it became...
The famous 5?
Later it became Harry Potter fan fiction and Percy Jackson fan fiction when I was in like year 8 and 9. Right. But then, so year 5, top set English was Miss Miller. We are now friends on Facebook.
No way.
She's my favourite teacher I've ever had. No offence to all the others, but she is my favourite one.
Be a hierarchy
yeah.
It's fine.
She taught both me and my older brother. And then
still with us?
She is still with us.
Miller, thank you very much.
I think I messaged her on Facebook when I graduated. We still keep in touch every now and then. And then got to secondary school.
This is
still
all
loved books. All before secondary school. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a writer.
Okay.
That's all. That's sorted. While everyone else was still trying to figure it out, I was like, no, I'm done.
I'll be honest,
ready.
Most people still in their 30s and 40s are like, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up.
I was very set on it. And then just continued to love English through all of secondary school. Took English language A-level, which had a whole creative writing paper that was like 2.5 hours.
Okay.
And it was my final A-level exam. And I really enjoyed it. Everyone else was dreading it. Was just like, I don't want to sit in there for 2.5 hours. Maybe even have been 3 hours.
Good Lord. To write an essay.
So you had to write for that one, I think. You get given like a prompt or a passage, and you have to write an excerpt from a short story or an excerpt from a novel that you come up with. And then you have to write something that's called a commentary, where you basically analyse your own work and say, oh, I use this language because of this.
Oh, wow. Like
you would with English literature, where you analyse a piece of writing written by someone else, but you do it for your own writing.
Yes. So there is a right answer. Like it's not. I always worry with these things that it's sometimes open to interpretation. It's like, well, I'm using this style because da da da.
You can, as long as you can back it up. That's what we were always told. As long as you can back it up, then you'll probably get the marks for it. So I loved that paper. It was my last A-level. I just enjoyed it.
Nice.
It was really fun.
So all these, you described lots of stuff you've written from like year dot to now, or to secondary school and A levels. Do you still have any of them?
Yeah, I have all of them at my parents' house. We used to do this thing in primary school called the Big Write. I think it was every Friday at the end of the week. We would do the Big Write, which is like sometimes it was non-fiction, I think, but I might be making that up. But most of the time it was fiction writing.
What are the kids that didn't like writing?
Oh, they just didn't enjoy it. I had the best time.
That's fair enough. Because it doesn't have to be good writing. Just you
had to do it.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
And I have a folder at my parents' house of all of my Big Writes from at least year 6. Whether I think I have my year 5 ones as well.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I like looking back at them.
I do. I grew up in a world before computers. I'm old. No, not before computers. I'm not that old. But before computers were used in essays and school life. In fact, I remember trying to type up an essay when I was a kid and getting told off. No, you have to write it.
Oh.
Long time ago. But you wrote everything. You physically
wrote everything by hand. Definitely in primary school, and all the way up to 6th form. So up to A levels, we weren't allowed to bring in laptops or anything from year 7 to 11. It was all handwritten. So I can see my childlike handwriting that is absolute. Although mostly it hasn't changed. I've always been, particularly by my siblings, made fun of for. I've always written in like joined up handwriting.
No, yeah.
Which is
like
what
a grown-up.
like you're taught to do.
Yes.
But apparently,
your siblings had a go at you for that.
well, mainly my brother, one of my brothers, because he thought it was really unoriginal, and I just wrote the way that I was taught, whereas he wrote in his own way. I don't know.
Well, he's not wrong, but he's not.
Yeah.
He's not right either.
No.
We all have our own path.
Exactly.
Anyway. So if you had got commissioned to write something, would you write your first draft? Would you write it, or are you computer now just for expediency?
It kind of depends what it is. So obviously for screenwriting, I have my screenwriting software to make sure it's industry format and everything like that. So I have to use my laptop for that or a computer.
Cool.
But I often brainstorm and write bits of dialogue by hand, because sometimes the way that my brain runs, if I'm really into an idea, it's going so quickly that I have to be able to just scribble it down. And if it's a poem, I have to do it by hand, because it's just the way my brain does it.
What about voice notes? Do you use any technology to dictate to yourself?
Sometimes if I'm really tired, like I'll be lying awake at night and I want to just write down an idea I've just had, I'll just roll over to my phone, do a voice to text note on my notes app.
Oh, that could go wrong.
Yeah, I then wake up in the morning and have no idea what it says, but I get the general idea.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
I remember we shared some ideas, and I've just sent you a brain dump at 9 p.m. and it works for me. But
I like a voice note, because sometimes you have to verbalize it to make it make sense.
Yeah. So you've finished your A-levels and you're very happy. I heard rumours that you met an idol of yours, or someone of great inspiration, which pushed you into believing in yourself. Am I getting that story wrong? There was a poetry read?
Yes.
So what have I got wrong about that story?
So in year 7, I joined Creative Writing Club at school because I was one of the cool kids.
So how old are you in year
11, 12.
As a young adult, okay.
Yeah. I joined Creative Writing Club at school because I always loved writing with my best friend. We both went and did it together. And we did a week where they taught us how to do poetry, sort of. And they put on a YouTube video of a poet called Harry Baker, who does spoken word poetry. But he's also a mathematician. Like, he has a degree in maths. Wow. So his poems are so clever and so intricate. And I loved them so much. I was just enraptured by it. And I went home and watched every single poetry video of his that I could find on YouTube.
He's
and
English?
he's British. He's from Margate, I think.
Down the road.
And yeah, so I got obsessed with him. But I didn't really know how to write the poetry very well. But then I was in year 10 or 11, so I must have been 14, 15, 16 era, I started actually writing my own spoken word poems. Nice. And I just fell in love with it, and I've been doing it ever since. And then it was in my second year of uni. I've gone to see him a few times. I have all 3 of his books that are out, and he has signed every single one.
Oh, cool.
And then I think it was my second year of uni, my lovely, lovely parents drove me all the way to Margate, which was very far, because Harry Baker has a podcast called Something Borrowed, where he brings on another poet most of the time, and they go through something borrowed, something blue, something new, and something old.
Lovely.
And then, because he started it during the pandemic, they started doing them live.
Cool.
So I wanted to go to that, because at the beginning of it, before he starts recording the podcast, he does an open mic where anyone can just go up and perform a poem.
So he did that on the podcast as well?
So he never recorded it. It was just before they get into the podcast, anyone can go up and read some poetry. And I heard he was doing that. And the idea of getting to perform a poem in front of my idol, Harry Baker, was absolutely insane. So we got tickets. They drove me all the way to Margate. I wrote a poem especially for the occasion about how Harry Baker inspired me to be a poet. So it was all about Harry Baker.
Do you still remember that poem?
I do, yes.
Do you want to give us like the first verse?
Oh, no.
No, I respect that.
It's on my Instagram, my poetry Instagram.
Okay, cool. Like a video of you performing it?
Yes, the one at the open mic, because I think my dad recorded it.
We will put Instagram links.
Yes, I have 2 writing Instagrams, one for poetry, one for screenwriting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I went and did that and performed it, really pandered to his ego, because I just referenced all of his poems and how much he had helped me since I was 11 years old. And he absolutely loved it. And during the interval before they started recording the actual podcast, I'd gone outside because I was shaking just from the adrenaline, because that was absolutely insane. And it was a really small audience as well. There were maybe about 15 people there. So he came up to me outside when I was stood with my parents, just freaking out over, I've just read a poem about Harry Baker to Harry Baker. What is life? He comes outside and he tells me how much he loved the poem, and he gives me a hug, and I was like, oh, I can't believe this is happening right now.
So had you actually met him before that hug?
I'd met him a few times at his poetry performances. He goes out afterwards.
Just another fan.
Oh yeah, I was just one of the fans. Except when I was in year 9 and my granddad passed away when we were on our way to see him perform, and my mum messaged him on Facebook, I think, and said, my daughter was really excited to come and see you perform, but unfortunately this is what happened, so we had to turn around. And he and his friend Chris, they're in a little duo, sent me a video saying like, because it was a birthday present, go and see them. They're like, happy birthday, really sorry to hear about what happened. And they put us on the guest list for their next show.
Wow, okay, that's lovely. Such
lovely people. And then after the performance, Harry plugged my Instagram on his Instagram, which was insane. And then a couple of months go by and I get a message from him on Instagram. I wake up to it asking if I want to be his support act at one of his gigs in Southampton, because he knew it was closer to where I lived than Margate. And I remember just sprinting downstairs. I think my dad was about to leave for work.
Are you still 11 at this point? 11, 12?
No, this was second year of uni.
Okay. Okay.
So I was at home for a few days and I ran downstairs. I was like, Harry Baker wants me to perform at one of his gigs. I don't know what's going on. And so, of course, I said, yes, please, thank you. And it was the first time I'd been paid for my poetry.
Look at you.
So that was
Did you write
insane.
something for again, or did you?
I wrote a few new poems. He wanted me to do like a 10-15 minute set at the beginning before he started performing. So I obviously performed my Harry Baker poem and a few other ones that I had. When I was 11, I joined a writing club. Just a little year 7, blazer buttoned up, skirt to my knees, and a love of words. You see, for me, it was always books. From just the blurb, I would be hooked, creating journeys through chapters, submerged in a world I'd never seen. Now that was the dream. But then here comes spoken word poetry.
And how long does the poem normally last, or is that how long is a piece of string?
Well, pretty much how long is a piece of string, because obviously you've got like a haiku is 3 lines.
Okay, that's the 575.
575.
Look at me.
Very well done. But whereas some spoken word, I think one of mine is like 5 minutes long. You know, depends how quickly you read it and the cadence you use.
So there are no rules. I mean,
no rules.
Structured like haiku has rules.
Yeah,
but, there's
but
no...
spoken word is very free. You can kind of do whatever you want.
Oh, it's just not like there wasn't an old man from Nantucket.
Not a limerick. It's just kind of.
It doesn't have to rhyme.
Doesn't have to. It can kind of be whatever you want.
Just an audible journey with your imagination.
Yeah, pretty much.
So help me understand, because I'm just an actor. A monologue.
Yes.
And a spoken word poetry. What? Obviously, I'm going to assume there's similarities, but could you help me as an uneducated writer? Any thoughts on how they might?
So that's very interesting. Spoken word, in my opinion, people have different views on what a poem should be. Okay. I think a spoken word poem has to have a rhythm and some sort of a rhyme.
Rhythm being almost like the number of syllables. Like
just the rhythm with which you say it is very important, especially in my poetry. It's gives it the beat. Whereas a monologue is prose and it's just you speak with the motion.
So you met your, and then are you still in contact with him? You still like on a frequent basis?
I haven't spoken to him in a little while. He then put me on the guest list for one of his other shows, which is where he gave me. Oh no, it was at the show that I performed with him. He gave me a free copy of his newest book, and signed it. Yeah. So I have all three signed. I remember the first book of his that I got signed. I was too scared to go up to him, so my sister had to like take me and ask him for me, because I must have been about 12 at the time, and I was too scared.
I really respect that, having that drive and that thing at 12. I can't remember what I was doing at 12. That's just beautiful. You had that desire and that passion to go get what you want. Like, not everyone does at that age.
So it all came to fruition in second year of uni. So only a couple of years ago, when I performed for him, and all that happened very quickly. And then people started following me on Instagram because he had told them to.
That'll do. No, in a lot of the arts industries, it's the saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Exactly.
That's great, but it's also a shame. But at the same time, you've got to take whatever opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got a chance to go on stage.
Did.
Take it. You did the right thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me about uni life. Like, where do you live? What do you do? It's 3 years. Was
3 years.
Dorms for the whole thing?
No. So for first year, I was in campus housing. So I was on campus in Longbrook, Bognor Regis campus has 3 different dorms. Okay. Longbrook is just your standard rooms.
So
shared
in my
facilities.
head, a dorm is you get a bed, a desk, and an ensuite, or is that pushing it?
Ensuite is pushing it. I didn't have an ensuite. Barbara Smith halls, which are kind of the fancier, more expensive halls on campus, they all have ensuites, so you pay a little bit more. Fine. But I was fine with having shared facilities because shared kitchen with I think 4 other people. Oh, 4 other people. At least that was my experience. Okay. Because it was like every floor had 2 kitchens, so half the floor would use that one and half the floor would use the other one. And I didn't mind using shared facilities. I grew up in a house of 6. So I wasn't really that bothered about it.
I like that. I've done a lot of travelling, and you're reminding me of hostel life.
Yeah, it was basically that.
Did you all eat together? Did you like any sort of communal, like Friday night, we're getting together, it's beers on a Friday?
So, yes, not with the people I shared a kitchen with. We weren't really that close for some reason. Yeah, all good, yeah. But I made friends with people on the other side of the halls, and just because it was about, I think there were 3 or 4 floors in Longbrook. And we ended up congregating in like one massive friendship group of us. There were like 15 of us. Oh, wow. That we would go out for the whole 3 years, basically every Friday. We'd be at the local Wetherspoons every single Friday.
Oh, that's proper student life.
Oh, it was amazing. And the student union bar. I remember my first night at uni, we all went out to the student bar on campus, which is where I first met everyone. Nice. And yeah, so I made friends in my block and I made friends on my course. And then in second year, I actually moved up to Chichester to live off campus in Chichester, to live with
regular house, like
just a student shared house. Cool. To live with someone I'd met in first year, because we were on very different courses. So if we didn't live together, we wouldn't really see each other. Oh, that's nice. So I moved in with her and 4 of her course mates. But
you were the odd one out in there.
I was the odd one out. Okay. I didn't really know. I only knew my friend when I moved in. I didn't know anyone else. And it was a bit difficult. I had to get the bus every morning to get to lectures, to get down. But luckily, there's a free university bus between campuses in Chichester, which was really handy. So I would just get up and go get the bus down to lectures and then get the bus back. But it was just not overly convenient. So for third year, I ended up moving back to Bognor to live with some of my closer friends. Student housing again, but off campus. We lived near town. There were 5 of us in a house.
Perfect.
And it was great. Loved third year. I think it was my favourite year.
Is it true, like, again, I didn't go to uni, I know, but is it third year there's less study because you're expected to revise on your own study?
It's more independent study because we didn't have exams. Screenwriting doesn't have exams because what can they really test you on?
Write a script in and out. You're right, yeah.
That would be really hard. So we had our dissertation and a few other assignments. So we never had exams for the whole 3 years. It was just assignments and coursework, which worked out very well for me. I much prefer coursework to exams. So in third year, there was a lot less contact time with the lecturers and stuff because you were expected to just kind of get on with it yourself, which I kind of struggled with.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not very good at making myself do the work if no one's telling me to do it.
You need that push.
Yeah.
Well, in employment, it's fine because you've got a boss.
Yeah, exactly.
Do this and...
So I was all right on the days that I had lectures, but I only had 3 lectures a week.
Oh, wow.
So
that's nice.
So it was lovely, but then also on the days where I didn't have lectures, I just couldn't really be bothered to do the work until it got to a few months before my dissertation was due in. And then I was freaking out and just locked myself in my room for a long time.
That's common.
Yeah.
It's why do today what you can put off till tomorrow?
Exactly.
Not the attitude. Don't do
not good. Really wish I hadn't done that, but it worked out all right.
But you find I'm the same. Like working under pressure, it gets my best work.
Yeah, exactly.
But other people,
staying up until 2 o'clock in the morning, much better for me than trying to get up at 6 and work all day.
Yeah, 100%.
It's much better for me.
Were you at school? Were you the sort of person when you came home with homework, you'd be like, I'm going to do my homework before anything? Or you did it in the car on the way home, the way to school in the morning?
It depended on the homework. Maths homework I tried to put off for as long as humanly possible because I hated it so much. But English homework I would do in my lunch, my lunch break, because I loved it so much. I loved it so deeply. Anything to do with spelling and grammar was my favourite thing. We used to do SPAG. Do you ever do SPAG? Spelling, punctuation and grammar tests?
No.
I remember one year we got given a booklet that was a SPAG test that we had to take home and do. And I did it in like 5 minutes because it's my favourite thing. Yep.
Who's a teacher which really helped you and encouraged you? There might be more than one, but if you could pick just one. The head of the screenwriting course at Chichester. The one you mentioned
yes.
The orientation, yes.
Fleur Costello. She was my tutor for my dissertation. She was my favourite lecturer I've ever had. No offence to the others, but I don't know why. There was something about her. She was so excited about screenwriting because she's written for the BBC. She's done feature films. She's got so much experience. She wrote for Waterloo Road when that was on. She's incredible, and I just loved writing for her. It was difficult. We had a few differing opinions on how things should be written. Like she hates when people use flashbacks in writing.
That's so common.
She doesn't like it. She thinks it's too cliched.
I bet she hated Lost. Wow.
She brought that up quite a lot. But I love writing flashbacks because I think they're really interesting to use if you use them right. I do think they can be overused.
Is it because it's easy rather than have to write a monologue about when I was 7 I saw you have a little flashback and it's over in a minute versus
exactly. But the confusing thing is she doesn't like expositional dialogue.
Okay. Which
is basically when you get a character to explain their history or something that's happened before the film or before the episode.
That perhaps you don't need to have him because in the real world, you know that story. Why are you saying?
Show not tell kind of situation. Okay. So she didn't like expositional dialogue, but she also didn't like flashbacks. So trying to show the history, it was very difficult and it was very hard. And I've had to since leaving uni, try and train myself out of writing for her.
Okay.
Like writing the script with you, I've been able to just kind of forget what she would have preferred in a script and just write what I want to write in a script.
I'm very fascinated to read some of her scripts now, to how she gets around those hurdles.
It's
like,
very interesting
to know the backstory of character X, but we can't talk about it and we can't show it.
Yeah, it's really difficult.
Perhaps I'm oversimplifying it.
It's very difficult, but she was amazing, and she's the reason I got the first in my degree that I got.
But she pushed you and made you question these things as well.
Yes.
Like you've given more time than perhaps someone else in your position would have thought about exposition. What is exposition and flashback? Like, she gave you tools, even though you might disagree. You still had.
Yeah, exactly. You still got to write what the examiner in this situation. I always had that at A levels as well. You have to write what the examiner wants you to write, rather than necessarily what you want to write.
It's like learning to drive a car. You're just learning to pass the test.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly the same.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but she was amazing. She really pushed me to write outside of my comfort zone.
Perfect.
And it was exactly what I needed. And she's just the perfect lecturer.
Oh, that's lovely. Can you remember? Okay, one question I wanted to ask is a lesson that stands out. It sounds like you might have already covered that, but is there a gem of a moment where you just thought?
I'm very much going to butcher this. She has a saying that she says all the time, and I always get it the wrong way round.
It's paraphrased.
I think it's character is story and plot is drama. So she was very much of the opinion that character is the most important thing in a script, which I wholeheartedly agree with. Characters, I think, are the most important part. You can have kind of a rubbish story going on, but if you have characters that people love and are so deeply invested in, it doesn't really matter.
I'm having a flashback to flashback. Sorry, I want to say if you remade Titanic, but you just had really boring passengers, it's like it would still be an interesting. It'd be a cool film but it wouldn't be the same as Titanic.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
It's very important. So I think that's right. I may have completely butchered that. But character is basically what drives the story, which I have very much internalized because I've always loved writing characters above anything else. Okay. So that I respect
that a lot. I'm a big Star Wars geek fan. That's why we're all here, maybe. But Andor blew me away with that. It was this story was how do they become rebels? But then just the character, like you were invested in the show because of the characters. There were very few lasers, very few no lightsabers. Like it was a character story.
Was.
Is there one piece of work you did that you like? Those 3 years, I'm proudest of this bit, or
yes, my absolute baby of a script. So it actually started in, I can't remember if it was second semester of first year or first semester of second year. We had an audio drama module, which is like writing fiction podcasts or radio dramas, like The Archers on Radio 4.
I remember that.
Basically writing for that, which is really interesting because I'd never really considered that they would need screenwriters for that. So we were learning about that, and we had to write for our assignment a 15-minute audio drama episode.
Random,
just anything.
Not The Archers.
Not The Archers. Anything you want to write. 15 pages.
But fiction.
Fiction, audio drama, podcast episode type thing.
So what did you do?
I wrote the pilot episode, which I then adapted for TV for a different module called Fireside, which is my favourite thing I've ever written. It's
to date?
No.
Largely? Oh, okay.
It's pretty much, probably. I'm so invested and attached to it as a piece because it's set in Cornwall, and I have a very deep love for Cornwall for a myriad of reasons.
Cool.
And I just love these characters that I've created so much. It's all quite cliched, very much Hallmark movie-esque.
That works.
But it's my favourite thing, and then I changed it into a TV drama instead for the BBC Open Call, which is where they accept script submissions to then, I think, be put on one of their apprenticeship courses. So I entered it for that. Didn't get it, but that's fine. And I've recently edited it and made it less Hallmark movie-esque to submit to a Channel 4 screenwriting competition. Nice. So we'll see how that goes.
Were there many changes from having an audio drama? I would imagine, like on radio, you perhaps need to, sound effects are involved probably more. Were there many changes from making it from audio drama to a TV show? Could you get away with less dialogue, or visuals would help?
It was a lot of kind of having to imagine what it would actually look like, rather because when you're writing an audio drama, you have to get across setting through sound. Which I really struggled with. I had a lot of seagulls in it to show that they were on the coast and stuff like that. But it was a lot. I found it a lot easier to write it for TV because I'm much more of a visual person. I can see it quite easily, so then I just describe it. So I kept most of the characters the same. I made it longer because we only have 15 pages for the audio drama, whereas a TV pilot tends to be more around an hour, 45 minutes, half an hour area. So, but there was a lot of changes that I had to make, expand the story, expand on the characters, and make it more visually interesting rather than interesting to listen to.
Makes sense. I'm. It's a generational thing as well. I remember growing up, my dad would listen to Hancock's Half Hour. Does that mean nothing?
I have no idea what that is.
It's a comedy radio show with Tony Hancock, but it was audio dramas. They made a TV show years later, and Monty Python sketches and the Goonies. But it was a different medium, and that was normal. But someone of your age and everything, like audio drama is probably, I mean, podcasts have become more popular, but it must have been a bigger departure to write an audio drama than a TV show because you were raised on TV shows.
Yeah, it was really strange. My only kind of exposure to audio dramas is when I'm sat in the car with my mum because she likes to listen to Radio 4 and I have listened to The Archers. I weirdly got quite invested in it and I'm definitely not the target audience.
My mum did the same, to be honest.
Yeah, and I just got weirdly invested in it. So that was kind of the only prior knowledge I had for audio dramas. But we did it, you know, they taught us a lot about the history of audio dramas and how they've changed. Because now fiction podcasts are a really big thing. Not just podcasts where two people sat with microphones just having a conversation, but actually fiction podcasts are really interesting.
And that's still an audio drama in the traditional sense?
Still an audio drama, just released. And actually they're a lot easier to break into than TV because you can kind of do it all yourself.
Makes sense.
Rather than needing a big budget TV show get picked up by a production company, you can do it yourself with a few sound effects, which you can download online or make yourself.
You said before you don't like, or you're bad at pushing yourself. Like you enjoy, like, you know, people around you to push and blah, blah. Yeah. Would you do an audio?
I really want to write an audio drama, and I just need to come up with a story. I'm not much of an ideas person. Mostly I get other people saying to me, wouldn't this make a really cool TV show? Or wouldn't this make a really cool film? And then I go, oh, actually, yeah, it would be. And then I run with it.
That's perfect for me. I have loads of ideas.
Well, exactly.
Which is how we met.
It's how we got there.
We'll get to that. I'm impressed. But you also, I have listened to a podcast you've done.
Yes. Recording our new episode.
I've listened to the first episode. Are there any more on the way?
There is. We're recording another one tomorrow. We've got, I think there's 3 episodes out at the minute.
Cool.
We're recording a new one tomorrow. Yeah. We're recording a new one tomorrow. We've been a bit off schedule recently. Life's been busy.
So it's like, if you had to do a sales pitch, like what is your podcast?
So it's called Much Ado About Film, and it's just all about, it's me and a friend that I met at uni who was also on the screenwriting course called Celeste. And we talk about films constantly, and we thought, why not record this and put it out to people that might care about our opinions? So we compare 2 films, kind of an old one and a newer one. So
connected in any way?
Connected by either themes or writer or director. For example, our first one was comparing 12 Angry Men with James Gunn's 2025 Superman, which doesn't sound like they should go together. But deeper, they share a lot of core themes around justice and alienation of people. And then we did one where we compared 2 Quentin Tarantino films that are very different, but also quite similar, obviously, because he's got his trademark. We did Jackie Brown from, I believe, the 70s, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, one of his latest film, 2019. So we compared those, and we're comparing 2 different queer love stories on our one tomorrow. Which is, I'm very excited about.
Which film today, or is that spoiler? We'll find out.
It's a surprise.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, I remember I listened to the first one. I drove my motorbike and for about an hour and a half, and I put the podcast on, and the journey flew by. I was still safe. I still watched the road. Didn't speed, but it was great. Yeah, it just flew by. It was really good. I was entertained. It was chill enough to be easygoing, but informative enough to keep me engaged. Like, yeah, keep it up.
we talk a lot about screenwriting techniques on there, about what we learned, but also we did a lot of film studies as part of our course. So we kind of bring a lot of that into it because our film studies lecturer was incredible. He is so much like Fleur, very invested, very enthusiastic.
Who is that?
Dr. Adam Locks.
Adam
Locks. Lock, I think.
Let's call him Adam. Dr. Adam.
Dr. Adam, who I love so much. I'm really glad I got to see him at my graduation a few weeks ago because he reminded me, because I did media studies at A-level and I loved it. And he just reminded me why I loved it, because being able to talk to him about film and both being equally excited about it was so fun. Nice. So we bring a lot of that into the podcast.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
You should get him on as guests. Maybe.
I really want to. I actually haven't told him about the podcast yet. I need to message him.
Well,
send it to him.
Plenty of time.
Exactly.
So we can listen to the podcast, all the links and everything down below. Can we read any of your poetry? I mean, you can listen to it on your Instagram, you said.
Yes.
Can we see any of your script? Like, how much of your work is out there for the masses to consume?
So I've got a few snippets of scripts. I've got a snippet of my dissertation film, the entirety of a short film I wrote in university, because it's only 7 pages long for writing the short film module we wrote in first year. There's a bit of Fireside on there as well on my website.
You have a website?
I have a website
what
portfolio.
What is your website? Just verbalise it for the...
It's not a good URL because it's a website.
Links below.
But yeah, that's got my portfolio on it, which I need to update now that I've worked on yours.
You and every other creative.
Yeah.
We're always 6 months behind.
Yeah, because I also worked on another script that's currently doing the rounds at film festivals that's actually doing very well.
Oh, so they made it?
Yeah, so it was...
Where can we see these films?
It's not officially released yet because it's still going around film festivals, but it was a friend of mine was on the digital film production course at uni.
Oh, nice friend.
And so, yes. So his dissertation film he had to make the film, and it was a 10-minute short film that he wrote, but he's not a writer. So he asked me to help him edit it and finesse it, and then he brought me on as script supervisor on set, which is the first time I'd been on a film set since before uni, when I made my first short film before university.
Now, script supervisor is the person that says, you said that wrong. Like,
I was kind of in charge of continuity, and also any edits we had to make on the fly. Like there was a scene we filmed outside, but if we hadn't been able to film outside, it would have been my job to kind of figure out how we were going to get around that. Okay. If we needed to change the film to being indoors, how could I rework it?
So you writing on the fly to a degree.
If there were some issues, I would have had to... We managed to film outside, luckily. The rain held off for us, but it's mainly about continuity because a lot of the scenes are 2 people sat on a couch like this and they had coffee cups in front of them, and if they moved slightly between shots, it's so irritating. Really out, exactly. So that was kind of my job. And then he made it with some of our other friends that were also on film production. They did all the sound, all the editing, everything like that, and it's currently going around the film festivals, and it's actually doing really well. Placed at a couple of international film festivals. So very exciting.
Well, if we can find any, I'll try and put some clips up now.
Dope. That's all he has to say. After all the effort I put in for tonight for him, and all he can say is dope. Well, guess it doesn't mean as much to him as it does to me. I mean, 3 months is a big deal, right? God, I must look so stupid right now thinking that he would remember, that he'd care. But I don't bring up any of that. Instead I say, thanks.
So you're out of uni, you've a professional, dare we say, making your way in the world. What's the next step, do you think, for you in your career? Like, how does one go from graduating uni to... I think what I'm trying to ask is, like, I'm a working actor, and so I don't work 40 hours a week acting. It just doesn't happen.
No.
I'm not lucky enough yet. But how is it for a screenwriter? Like, is it all freelance gigs? Is it really busy, then really quiet? Like, what's the...
I've applied to a lot of the way we were told it kind of works is you get an entry-level job at a production company, whether that's film or TV.
And a production company can be like some guy in his garage to
Yeah.
the BBC.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So you try and get an entry-level job, whether it's an admin assistant, a researcher is where a lot of screenwriters start, is being a researcher for things like EastEnders. They have a lot of researchers. I applied for a job and got rejected.
Did they say why?
No, I think it's lack of experience, which makes it really difficult because
to be 21 again.
how can I get the experience if no one will hire me because I don't have the experience, which makes it very difficult.
I remember those days.
But a lot of it is freelance, or you try and find an agent, much like for acting.
Cool.
I would assume you try and find an agent and then they kind of push your work more on, because a lot of production companies don't accept unsolicited scripts. It has to come through an agent.
Agents can open doors where you can't.
Yeah, exactly. So I've
truth.
Trying to research what agencies might be interested in taking on new screenwriters, sending over my portfolio, snippets of scripts and stuff. So it's a long road to try and get there, try and get to a not particularly stable career in the long run, but it's worth it when you love doing it.
So you're currently applying for agents?
Currently applying for agents, any kind of jobs in the TV sector that I can find in London, any BBC jobs, Channel 4, everything like that, just trying to apply, but also applying for freelance stuff on like Backstage and Fiverr and stuff like that, and doing this.
Yep. More on our project.
Yeah.
And is it remote? Did COVID make it a remote role, or did they expect you to go for an office? Is it 9 to 5, or is it creative, like just deliver X by Y type?
It kind of depends where you're at in your career. For example, my lecturer, Fleur, she does a lot of freelance writing, and she just does it from home. She joins Zoom calls, or you can be in a writer's room. For writing TV stuff, a lot of it is writer's room, where there's a bunch of you in a room and you're brainstorming and trying to write the scenes and bring them together and weave it all into a workable story that's interesting. So a lot of it is hybrid work, from what I've gathered from applying, is you do X amount of days in the office, but the rest you're working from home and working on scripts.
So anyone coming up, perhaps similar to yourself, if there's another 12-year-old out there that's thinking about writing or enjoys writing stories or anything, is there any advice you would give to a young person starting in this career, seeing how it's changed in the 10 plus years that we just covered? Anything you'd say to a young person to say, don't do it, or
definitely do it.
Cool.
That's number one. Definitely do it. Keep doing it. It's not easy. It can be quite disheartening when you pour everything you have into a script, you send it off to an agent or a production company, and they say, no, we're not interested. That it's really hard.
And they don't give feedback. It's not like
most of the time. It's a boilerplate email that says, at this time we're not interested, blah blah blah. But it can be really difficult, but it is worth it, because the joy you get writing something is all worth it. And when you are lucky enough to see that put onto a screen, it's like nothing I can actually describe.
Or a screen, or even a radio show, or a podcast.
When you hear people reading and embodying things you've written, you get goosebumps. It's absolutely insane. The first short film I wrote was actually when I was in sixth form, and it was my first experience writing a script. I had no training, had no idea what I was doing, but I had a friend at the time who wanted to be a director, and we were like, let's just write something. So why not? So we wrote an 8-page script, filmed it all in one day with a couple of actor friends we had, and that one day on set was just the best day of my life. And then when...
It was all your script?
It was all my script.
Your character.
And that was insane. I almost was kicked off the set because I kept being like, oh, maybe we should say this instead, and wanting to change it every 5 minutes.
So you're happy. I want to work about the working life at some point. Actually, I'll come back to that question about changing it and whatnot. But so push yourself, do it, create.
Definitely. And also meet as many people as you can who also love what you love. So networking is everything. I didn't do enough of it at uni. That's one of my biggest regrets at uni.
But there were opportunities
There
to
was-
network? I
there
mean,
were-
you can network with other students, and it can't be the same as networking with other professionals. Or...
We didn't get many opportunities to network with industry professionals, but networking with each other. I had my group of friends, and a lot of us were on creative industries courses and in film production, but I didn't get much actual experience. I didn't take my script to film production people on campus and say, would you be interested in making this? Why don't we go and do it now?
Yeah.
I should have done that. I wish I had done it. So just the worst they can say is no.
Yep.
And then you go, okay, and then you find someone else. And eventually you'll find a director, a producer, or whatever that says, oh, this script's amazing. I would love to make this. I have this vision. What do you think? And then you get to make your film. And it's insane.
Yeah, you get, what's the saying? You don't make 100% of the shots you don't take. I've butchered that.
Yeah, yeah.
But like,
But
yeah,
no.
try, and a 1% chance better than no percent.
Yeah,
chance.
exactly.
Take it.
Just do it. Meet people. I went to a networking event in London a few weeks ago for filmmakers. Met a few people, got a few business cards, gave out a few business cards.
Perfect.
And that's all you can do.
Plant seeds. Put your name out there.
There's loads of opportunities on there. I was looking on the website Meetup, where they put on a loads of film networking events and creative industries events, writers events, poets events. You can find everything on there. Actors events,
Yes.
where you just go and meet like-minded people that love what they do, and they might say, oh, I've been struggling to write this script. Do you want to help?
Boom. Very sure the acting event, the networking events, I find, because I'm getting older, a lot of them are like, we're starting at 10 p.m. and it's in this bar, and it's like, I want to be in bed by 10 and it's too noisy. And I really struggle personally in that I want to go to the ones that are in a coffee shop on a Sunday afternoon.
Yes.
They're the ones I want. And they do exist, but most of them I find are
At bars
10
in the
PM,
evening.
but plus. And
I've struggled juggling that with working what my partner and I call Muggle job.
Muggle, yeah,
My
I've got
Muggle job.
My own, yeah.
Balancing it with my Muggle job, because I'll see all these networking events and it'll be on a Friday evening, but I work Friday evenings, so I can't do that. I did find one that I need to put in my calendar that's on a Monday evening, and I can do that. I'll be
Sweet.
like, yeah, I'll go to that.
Oh, it's regular. Okay, cool.
I think it's once a
Regular
month.
enough. Perfect.
Yeah. So it's a hard balance to find, but once you find it, it's amazing to
I
find.
love that. I want to, like, there's something about Muggle jobs to the younger audience, anyone that's listening that's younger, and perhaps we're targeting for this career inspiring work. I've met a few actors. I'm coming from an actor's perspective now. To work in, sweeping the streets or stacking shelves or babysitting or just a hard day's work for a hard day's pay, an honest day's pay, but there's nothing wrong with that. And
No.
it's great that you can learn so much about life and yourself and character creation or playing and things. There's nothing wrong with the Muggle job. Like, never think, if you're an actor or a writer and you've got a job and you can pay the bills, you're winning. That is not a failure.
100%.
I struggled with that when I started acting, and I'm well over that. Very happy. I've got about 4 Muggle jobs, and they all sort of collectively pay the rent. But it's nothing wrong with Muggle jobs.
And that's all you need them to do at first. When I first left uni, when I first moved out, didn't go back to my parents' house, moved out with my partner, we got a flat. I was very averse to going back to working in a supermarket.
Okay.
I was like, I want to find a job in my industry, but it's not that easy. So 2 months later, I went back to working in a supermarket, and it's absolutely fine.
It's not your life.
It's not going to be my forever job, hopefully. And also, it's quite easy to do while also thinking about scripts I want to write in the back of my head. I'm stocking cans of beans and thinking, oh, what if I wrote a film about this? And then he could do this.
Can you listen to music when you're working in that particular Muggle job?
Not supposed to.
No. Well, one ear on, one ear off.
Well, we wear headsets so that we can
okay.
talk to each other, and AirPods seem to fit quite nicely underneath them.
Nice.
And
You don't
hidden.
do that, obviously.
I would never do that ever if you're listening.
You get the job done. That's- Are you customer facing? Like, do you get to see the public?
I do
and, like,
both.
get
I
inspired
work
by-
on the tills, fill the shelves. I do both. So
That must be great for a writer's perspective, because you get to see all flavors of.
I meet
humans.
so many interesting members of the public in my job. I've worked there for 3 years overall, and they're all such characters. I did think a really interesting story, trademark, don't steal it, would be about like a small corner shop, And it's just the stories of the people. You get snippets of people's stories when they come in. I thought it'd be quite nice. Haven't written it yet, but thought it'd be quite fun.
There's the idea.
Yeah.
That could work as a radio or podcast.
It could.
Well. You talked about the influence Harry Baker had on you growing up, but now you've moved into, because he was spoken word poetry.
Yeah.
Are there any industry professionals now, more screenwriting, more contemporary, that inspire you? Anyone that's been like, oh, I like their career, I could mirror that? Or...
Quite a few. My all-time screenwriting idol is Aaron Sorkin, writer of The West Wing.
Yeah.
He did the To Kill a Mockingbird stage revival very recently. Did A Few Good Men.
Very clever. And so he's a screenwriter.
He's a screenwriter. No, I don't know how much he actually does anymore, but I remember my parents got me to watch West Wing, and immediately I was like, "Yep,
that is great writing. So
this is incredible."
He might have the writers' room.
Yeah, he would have been.
So the buck stops with him.
Yes,
okay.
He was like the head writer. The story was written by him. He was the writer. But more modern writers, definitely Brett Goldstein, who was one of the writers of Ted Lasso. Recently came out with a film called All of You, which I went to one of the previews of, where he did a Q&A. And he stars in it as well, and it's an incredible film. Highly recommend.
He started as a writer, didn't he?
He started as a comedian. So he did stand-up, but he was also obviously writing his own jokes. And one of his first things he actually released was a comedy superhero film called Super Bob, which is coming up to the 10-year anniversary soon. And it's hilarious. But I found him through Ted Lasso, because he was in the writer's room for that. He was in the writer's room, but he also stars in it as well. Him and Jason Sudeikis both wrote it. And I'm blanking on the man's name who wrote Ted Lasso and Shrinking. And
Scrubs guy, Bill Lawrence.
Yeah, Bill Lawrence. He is amazing. Love all of his writing. So those are a few that I would like to be like very deeply.
But then they're still working. So write to them and say,
I have.
I'll make the coffee. I'll do the research.
I did send Brett Goldstein a message on Instagram and he never responded. Bit rude. Yeah. But I need to actually just message more writers and say, any advice or got any runner jobs? Because a lot of writers start as runners on sets or PAs.
All that is timing as well. I'm working actor again and acting. I've written to big directors and whatnot and never replied, and that's fine. But it's like you might be lucky enough to catch them in that one time where they're just sitting on the loo or waiting for a bus or the limo. Yeah, more likely. It's like, oh yeah. I remember I wrote to Chris O'Dowd, who's an actor.
Oh yeah, I know him.
The most famous in British circles, at least, for the IT crowd.
Yes.
And he, he's not Leonardo DiCaprio, like only Leo's Leo. But he's a good, solid actor. He's good at his job. He's diverse range. I've seen him in a couple of plays as well. Like I really just respected his career. His career was like, that's something to aim for. And I wrote to him and told him that, thanks for the inspiration. And he wrote back saying, like, yeah, good on you, keep going. Like, nothing, life changing, but at the same time, very life changing.
Yeah.
It was lovely.
You never know. Yeah. You never know. They might respond. They might be very open to having a discussion. Obviously, the bigger names, like if you write to Steven Spielberg, I doubt he's going to be like, oh, do you want to come and get a cup of coffee and have a conversation about film? That's highly, highly unlikely. But he might be like, oh, well, I would suggest you reach out to these people or try doing this. True. You never know. They know things.
Have you, you're a sci-fi geek. Did you ever watch Stargate?
I did not. Never did.
Stargate. On the Talking to People, there's a guy called Joseph, and I forget his surname, begins with an M, it's Italian, I'm sorry. I wrote to him, because he lives in Canada, I'm a big Stargate fan. And I wrote to him saying, like, if I moved to Canada to act, is it a thing? And we had for about 2 weeks, we wrote back and forth.
Wow.
Like, not every hour, but, every couple of days we wrote back and forth. And he was giving advice about moving to Canada and how to network. Absolutely lovely. Didn't have to do it. But it was that, I gave it a shot. I wrote to him, like, it can happen.
Exactly. Happen. So, Bill Lawrence, if for some reason you're watching this, please message me. We could have a lovely conversation.
There you go. And he's working on Ted Lasso.
Season 4. Season 4 of Ted Lasso. I think soon they should be releasing the new season of Shrinking, which is an incredible show. I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't. It's on my to-do list.
You need to watch
To my
it. It's
discredit, it's
amazing. Harrison Ford is incredible in it. The writing is amazing. Brett Goldstein again is amazing in it when he's in the second season.
So if you did get to work with these idols or anything, I think we probably answered this already, but your dream job, would it be being your own Aaron Sorkin, or would it be working, like, do you prefer to being part of a team with them, or would you
I think
snap your fingers?
Eventually I want to write my own thing, and like Aaron Sorkin with West Wing, it was all him. Obviously there were other writers involved, but it was mostly his. But I would love to be in a writer's room for some kind of heartfelt comedy drama like Ted Lasso.
Okay.
That's one of the things I've watched where I've gone, oh, I wish I'd written that so much. Definitely more TV over writing a feature film, I think, because I prefer the longevity of it, getting to explore the characters over a series, multiple seasons, stuff like that. Or just anything where I get to develop my own characters is the most important thing to me.
Well, that's the corner shop. So because of this education and whatnot, I got in contact with my old school friend Neil, completely coincidentally, and he's now come on board on the film, and we're going to meet him at some point later. He said, "Oh, I know someone who's just finished a screenwriting degree, blah, blah, blah." It's like, who? And he said, well, boom. And then led me to you. So we started chatting briefly, and I shared so I wrote the scripts. But it was fine. But I knew what story beats I had, and I found talking to you, describing those beats, describing what I wanted, you just got it. You just seemed to click with what I was trying to tell. And I only wrote this, it started out just a vehicle for me as an actor, just to have content. But it's like, well, no, I enjoy these characters, so I identify what you're saying there. So you took my script, in loose comments, and just polished it to the nth degree. I was so impressed with what you did. We gave the characters names. The backstories became more real. There was wonderful use of exposition. You came along at the right time, and the connection of how I found you was lovely. Was there anything you'd like to share now in that meeting? Because I've never written a film before. I've never produced. This is all new for me, which is why we're here to learn about screenwriting. Anything we could have done differently to make the job easier? Maybe there's no right answer. You can take time to think.
I don't think so, because like I said before, I'm not much of an ideas person. So someone coming to me and said, I've got this idea, I'm not a writer, I don't know how to do it, help, was kind of the ideal situation there. Because also I love Star Wars, thanks to my dad. He raised me on Star Wars. I've always loved Star Wars so much. And then he was like, oh, I've got a Star Wars fan film that I want to write. Any help? Very much appreciated. And I just, as soon as you sent me the script, I was like, oh, I like this. We can do a lot with this. Nice. There is a lot of potential for an amazing story here that I then just got to put my own, not my own spin on it, but write it in my way and with my own process. And a lot of creative freedom that you gave me, which I was very grateful for, to kind of weave it how I wanted to.
Well, I did. I remember I wrote, before we even met, I had some people on Twitter. I went on Twitter and said, I've got this script, panic. And a couple of people read it for me and gave me 5 minutes worth of free advice. There's a very common theme in that my describing the scene, the setup, everything was like, they knew what I was trying to say, but it wasn't conducive to wider audience. And the script will go to the sound guy and the prop maker, but everyone has to get it, so it needs to help visualize. And I wasn't very good at the visualization, and I think you really polished that up. I do remember having an ego moment, and I don't normally have an ego, so I wrote it, and I got the script, and it's my name at the front. And when I got it back from you, it said written by Grace Taylor, and there was a moment where I'm like, oh, then I started reading, and within half a page, I was like, oh yeah. I get it now. Story by
Tristan, written by Grace.
Yeah,
it's the duality, it's the teamwork element of it.
But it was a good education for me, and one of the reasons I wanted to do this whole series about everything is I'm only a working actor. I don't get, or I don't understand what goes on outside of my little bubble. And to a degree, like you might chat to the lighting guy on a set,
Yeah.
or you learn as you go, and I'm still learning. And it was a real education for me about screenwriting to see my story become not my story. Then it was weird, and I know I'm wrong. And looking back now, it's the best thing that ever happened. So fantastic. But it was good to see that journey of the characters and whatnot. Of course, you gave them names, you gave them bigger backstories, and without giving spoilers away, because we're probably going to release this before the film is out. Who's your favorite character? Try not to give spoilers away. Do you have a favorite character in our little universe?
I think probably Vala. Vala is my favorite. She's my favorite to write. Okay. Specifically.
I want to ask questions, but I can't to give spoilers away. So that was probably a bad question on my part. So
we'll talk about it later.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Come after we release it. Of course, she didn't have a name when I gave it over. It was just woman. Woman. And there's a man too. Like,
man, woman. Okay.
That was my script. It was really basic, but you took it and did it. And that's all thanks to the education and the 11-year-old girl that wanted to write and all grew up to be where we are. So we have our finished script.
We do.
One of the questions I was going to ask earlier about Saber, I think it's relevant now. I, as an actor, have been on set and I've had a line, and I'm prone to paraphrase a little bit, which is fine with some directors. Others are like, you said when it says and some get really finicky. Let's assume when we're filming, we haven't filmed yet, you're on set with us and an actor comes to, so maybe two situations. One, an actor comes to you and says, I don't like this, can I say this instead? To paraphrase, to make it sound more natural. And two, I don't like this, I want to rewrite it because it's shit. Like, when does ego and professionalism and maybe you saying, oh, that's right, come? And also, if there's a joke and someone has a better punchline that you or I ever thought of in the, literally just before it's the action, someone says, oh, shouldn't I say this line? So I guess, I've just asked a lot of questions. Comes down to, how precious are you with your writing?
I get quite attached to things that I've written. Okay. I get very attached to my characters. I've built them in a specific way. I've given them certain lines. To an extent. I'm not very good at writing comedy. Okay. I like to think I'm quite funny in real life, but for some reason I just don't really think that translates well to...
Comedy's hard.
Comedy is so difficult to write. Kudos to anyone that can do it, because I just can't do it. So in the realm of, if I've written a joke and an actor or someone else on set says, oh, don't you think if I said this it would be funnier, I'd go for it. Okay, I'm not precious about that. Depends on the line, because some lines are written in a very specific way to allude to something that might happen next.
Yeah, the actor might not know what's coming in chapter 2.
Yes, or give kind of a bit of exposition without giving it away about who they used to be. Some things I'm very precious about because I think they're important. Other things, like saying instead of don't care, do what you want. But some lines I will say. There is a level where it's like, no, that's important. Please say it how it's written. And I do have a bit of an ego when it comes to writing, because if I write something I'm proud of, then I'm very protective over it, and I want to keep it safe.
I'm looking forward. We might have to do a retrospective when we finish filming, we've wrapped, and say, like, what lines did you have to hammer home? But you can always, I've definitely been on sets before where you do the script, and then you'll do now you can. No, we've got it. We'll do 2 takes. I think The Office was filmed. They did the US Office. They did the script for 2 takes, and then they had a free reign one. And some statistic, like 30% of the jokes in The Office are from them just riffing. It's like, we're here. We need to get here. Go.
And that makes sense because they're quite comedic actors. So for something comedic, any comedy films or TV shows, you're going to have more fun with it. With something like a serious, like courtroom drama, especially if it's anything with jargon in it, like a medical drama, you can't get too much with the ad-libs, because otherwise you're going to say the wrong word and then the audience is going to crucify you for being, well, that's not actually how that procedure works, or something like that. But I don't mind rewriting things. And in however many months when we film it, I might go, oh, actually, I could have written that better. Because a lot of things I look back on that I wrote when... Like the script I wrote when I was at sixth form, I reread it now and think, oh, I could do a much better job now.
Is
But
Fireside?
no, different script. Script called Overthinking, which did funnily enough. Very proud of it. Very happy with what it became. It went to film festivals. It did quite well.
Can we see that? Is that in the?
Yes, I believe it's on YouTube. It's also on my website.
Right, we'll find, links below.
But looking back at it now, having done my education, because that was before I knew anything about script writing, looking back at it now, I would have done a lot differently. So probably in 6 months or whatever, I'll look back at our script and I'll go, oh, I could have done that instead. So I need to get better at not wishing I'd done things differently because it's done now.
Commit to it. But can this go from major story points you missed to just, oh, I wish you said that one line different?
Probably just intricate details. I'll think, oh, if I changed that 2 words to something else, it would have changed everything, when actually no one really cares other than me when I read it.
That's fair. Was there any points of our script where you thought, oh, it'd be really cool if we could add scene XYZ, but we can't afford it, or that would take a month, or I don't know. Was there anything you reined in, no spoilers, that you thought, is there anything you denied the script?
Yeah, I mean, Star Wars films, obviously the franchise, high budget, special effects, fight scenes, and it would have been really cool to include loads of that in it. But obviously, an independent film, self-funded, you're not going to be able to do that. There was a lot I wanted to do with backstory bits that would have been really interesting to see in more detail, but it would have meant 5 new locations and X number of actors and all this special effects that it's just, and it's not necessary to give the story the emotional kick that it needed. It just would have been more fun.
Yeah. Yes.
So, and that's
a shame. It would have been fun.
It would have been really fun, and maybe in 20 years, if we're both extremely rich, we can just go absolutely crazy with it. But for now, the script, it works. It gets across the point. It's emotional, I think, and it works well for what it is.
Nice. I like that. I'm excited to make it. I'm
very
excited to share it with the universe and whatnot. Yeah, there's a long road ahead. So I started this chat. I don't know what a screenwriter does. I didn't know. I feel I've learned a bit more about screenwriting as an art form, as an integral part of filmmaking. Is there anything we might have missed today that I really wanted to talk about?
I mean, there's a lot of theory behind screenwriting that people don't realise. A lot of structure theories that I didn't realise were a real thing. Like the hero's journey.
Okay, yeah. Isn't there some Shakespeare stat? There's only 11 stories or 7 stories.
Yeah, I thought it was 12, but something like that. But the hero's journey is really interesting, especially when you're talking about Star Wars, because George Lucas basically followed it to the letter, which is really interesting. And there's a lot that you don't realise goes into the writing of films. A lot of theory, and you have to think about the pacing and the act structure and where to break the acts and all of that kind of thing. But once you learn it and you watch a film, it's not the same.
Oh, no.
Rewatching the Harry Potter films recently, I can see where it's been woven into each other. And even when I watch new films, when I watched the new Superman, I was like, oh, I can see how they've moved that to this act so that it has more of a punch. So you don't see films the same way when you're a screenwriter.
Does it ruin films a little bit?
I'm much better at predicting twists, which is
that's a shame.
It's really annoying, especially for anyone who watches a film with me, because I'll sit there and go, oh, obviously they're going to do that. And then it happens, and then it's like, oh, well, that's ruined it now.
Because they're following that structure.
Yeah, you read it differently. It's like when I watch a film now, I read it like a script. And I can picture how the script looks, which is really interesting and can be kind of frustrating when you just want to enjoy watching a film. But yeah, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that I never realised when I used to watch films growing up.
A lot, and it's exactly the same in the acting world. Learning acting has ruined some films.
Yeah.
It's like, why did they make that choice? Well, thank you.
Thank you
for educating me, educating us, being a part of this project. There's lots of work ahead of us. And I apologise in advance if I come to you and say, hey, can we add a scene with these 15 new characters and changes this plot device? And I'll really try not to.
I'll be very happy to do it while I'm stacking shelves. I'll write it in my brain. That's absolutely fine.
Well, I feel I've learned a lot today, so thank you very much. We're going to put all of Grace's social media links examples of the work we talked about, links to their tutors we talked about, just everything you need. We're going to try and be as thorough as possible. If we've missed anything, leave a comment below and we'll be sure to add it. Thank you for your time. I hope you've learned something. I certainly have. And we'll see you in the next one.
Perfect. Lovely.